Hello there, welcome to my channel. This is my take on the Hocus Pocus cottage from the movie, you guessed it, Hocus Pocus. I was watching this a few days ago, and as soon as I saw the cottage, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to build this. I don't know why I haven't built this before in The Sims, but I was like, well, now is the time. It is becoming October soon. It's already autumn time. It's almost Halloween season. In my mind, it already is Halloween season. So this was the perfect time to be building this. And like I said, this is my take on it. So it's not going to be a replica per se, especially the inside floor plan, because one, the actual cottage, I mean, it is a real place that's in like Salem, Massachusetts, but it's like an Airbnb now. You can stay in for like one night only or something. And the actual like cottage, of course, it was like a set or like a replica or something of the actual cottage, I think. So you only see portions of it. So I couldn't find like exact floor plans for the entirety of this actual house. So, you know, I had to make do and kind of make it my own for some parts. I did try to get and like capture the main parts that are used in the movie, of course, with like the cauldron and like the chair where, you know, they kind of suck the soul out of children's lives. So I did, of course, like add little touches here and there to make it look cluttered to an extent. It's kind of limiting, of course, because I'm only using stuff from The Sims 3 itself. Like I'm not using custom content, so there's only so much you can do with what the game itself provided, plus like store content. So, you know, I make do. I think it came out really cute. I definitely would like to use this for one of my witchy Sims. I didn't get to test the upstairs portion. I only got to test the downstairs, unfortunately. So if there is any routing issues, I do apologize. I don't think there should be, though, because there's quite a bit of space up on the second floor area. I don't think you've seen it yet, so I'm talking about something that wasn't really shown yet, but yeah, I had a lot of fun with this build, and there is that mill from the old mill brunch set on the store that went perfect with this build. And that's actually like when I was watching the movie, it's so funny. Sometimes I get random ideas that pop into my head at the randomest times while I'm just doing things like every day. Like watching Hocus Pocus, I saw the mill that was attached to the cottage in the movie, and I was like, oh my gosh, the brunch at the old mill set, I can build the Hocus Pocus cottage. Like, it's just random things that click in my head. I don't know why, but as soon as that happened, that thought stayed with me, and here I am, you know, in the speed build building this. Now, the floor plan confused me. I didn't really see any blueprints or anything. I kind of just went off of what I could. I do end up moving the cauldron, though, because it didn't make any sense from, like, this, like, story point of view or whatever. But I kind of make the little extra room with the, like, the archway into a sort of, like, cabinet or closet with all of their potion, like, sort of, I guess you could say, like, ingredients. I use just some kind of, like, store object thing that has like stuff that looks like ingredients, but yeah, so it's basically just for show. It's not really fully functional. The other part is just kind of there. Like I said before, I do want this to be functional, so I did add like a kitchen and a dining area in the back, even though we don't see those things in the actual cottage in the movie. But I wanted there to be functionality and purpose to this build for it to be an actual residential home for Sims to use. I do add 3 beds to this, though one of them is a bunk bed set, and then the other one is a separate bed. How I saw it was that the two, like Winnie would have her own, you know, she was kind of like the one that they kind of followed, her 2 sisters. She was like the big sis, and they always listened to her, and she was like the dramatic one who always like wanted things to go her way. So I kind of did it based off of that, even though it's typically not necessarily made for them to play with in The Sims, but I kind of wanted to go off of that. So there's one separate bed that's kind of on the second floor area by itself, and then there's a separate room with like a bunk bed set, so that would kind of be like where the other 2 younger sisters would go and sleep for the night. So I kind of just did something like that for that story purpose, but you don't have to like have it for 3 sisters. Like, it doesn't have to be that kind of house, you know. Though I will say, I don't know if you can fit a double bed in here unless you maneuver it around. So really, if you could put like the Crumple Bottom sisters in here too, you know, like from the Moonlight Falls world, the I can't say that word. Their name, the Crumple Bottom Witch Sisters. If you wanted to like move them into a different house, this could be kind of like that new house for them, like a really witchy cottage type of thing. I didn't mention this yet, but I did build this in the edited version of Hilewood. Now, the one I in particular have has a dive lot in it, but if you have a different version, it won't really make a difference as long as it's this version, I think, of Hilewood. It will still look the same on like the land portion because it has all of those leaves. Like, that's a specific terrain paint that's, I think, like a custom one that they had, and they used it for this world, and it just looks perfect with this build, of course, because if you remember, they're kind of off in the forest and there's just foliage everywhere on the floor, and it really captured that vibe for, you know, this build. Even though it's like kind of in the surrounding area and not on the lot itself, it still really goes with it, and I really wanted to capture that, at least for photos for this. But you don't have to use it in this world, of course. I just thought that, you know, if you want to build up your own sort of supernatural or witch world save file, or your own little version of like Salem, Massachusetts or something, like you can use this version of Highwood. It has quite a bit of lots on it, and it's really great for a like fall or autumn time sort of save file. And I might even do that like with this build, because it just is inspiring me. I love playing with witches in The Sims 3, but this is inspiring me definitely to have some sort of supernatural save in Highwood, which I haven't done before. I've only done like small towns in it, so that'd be kind of interesting to do. But anyway, yeah, that was just kind of a little bit of backstory for like why I chose to build in Highwood and things like that. But yeah, Highwood is a beautiful world, by the way. I will provide a link for it if you want to download this version of it, because I feel like it really goes with it, you know. But yeah, anyway, so I really tried to capture certain things. Now, I know in the story there's a black flame candle. Now, we can't change the flame of the candles in The Sims 3, okay? So I had to compromise, and instead I took a candle and I just made the wax of it the color black as opposed to the flame. Because, you know, there's not that much customization. Imagine being able to change the color of flames in live mode for like the candles. That would have been really cool. But yeah, for like the entry living room portion, I tried to emulate that sort of setup they had with the chair where they would kind of sit the children down to like suck the souls out of them to get youth. A bit morbid, I know, but I wanted to add something to make it look like the actual original Cottage in the movie, okay? Like I said, this is my take on it, but I still wanted to add like the original elements to it, okay? So it's kind of like their potions are in the corner next to the chairs, like where they sit them down or whatever, put the spells on them and stuff like that. And this is kind of just like their entire, like they have all their different spell books and all the things for the potions and stuff like that, like written down. And okay, so I didn't say it yet, but this build is going to be expensive. I will say that. It's like 130,000 simoleons. And the only reason is because I add the spell book from the store. That object is the most expensive object, I think, on like in the catalog, because it's 75,000 simoleons. I don't know why it's so expensive, but that's what they made it. And so it added a good chunk to the cost of this house. And I could not part with that, of course, because one, it adds to witch gameplay. Two, it is perfect for their her book. Of course, it doesn't have an eyeball on it like the original, but it's supposed to be that. So I couldn't part with it. But yeah, anyway, just wanted to let you know why this house was so freaking expensive for like no reason, really. But yeah, I tried to do little things like around this sort of space to make it look like it's really cluttered, because in the original build, or the original like cottage the set that they have, it's super like busy and it's super cluttered, of course, because it's like a really old, you know, like 1500s cottage. I forget the timeline, but oh no, I'm sorry, it's from the 1600s, because it's like 300 years later, and this was like, movie was made in like the 90s. But yeah, anyway, so I wanted to emulate like, you know, the super clutteredness of it and things like that, because it makes sense, you know, it's a witch's cottage. They're gonna have ingredients and things lying around everywhere, all their books with all the information, and you know, they've lived for centuries, so they're gonna build up clutter, you know what I mean? So that's kind of the story I was going for with all of that. And yeah, that's pretty much everything that I think was there to go over. If you saw in the beginning of my little like sort of video that I have to show off the outside of the house, I do add some fog emitters in like the build by mode, so you will see like if you go into build mode, if you want to edit this, there's two different little fog emitters. If you don't want them, you can delete them, but I thought it added to the vibe of this lot because it's kind of creepy, slightly, you know, they're meant to be secluded in the woods and they're like really evil witches, so I just felt like that would add to it. But yeah, if you want to download this build, I will provide two different links in my video description. As always, I have a version on the Sims 3 Exchange, and for easier installation into the like library folder, I have a Sim file share link that you can download and just plop the package file right into your library. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you want to stick around, I will do like usual a photo montage at the end showing you the inside and the exterior with photos, just capturing the entire build in its finished form. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit like on this video, and don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't already. I hope you have a good one, and take care. Bye!